Hello everyone, welcome back to the Traxion YouTube channel and welcome to week 7 of our iRacing Global Mazda MX-5 Cup track guide series. Now week 7 brings us to Oran Park Raceway in Australia, the Grand Prix layout, and I'm a little bit sad to learn that this place is no more. It actually closed its doors in 2010 and it's now a housing estate. Now I've never actually raced the Mazda at Oran Park before, but having done the track guide, it's got all the key ingredients to be an absolutely fantastic combination. And the circuit itself, it urges you to push on, and as soon as you do, you make a mistake. So sometimes backing off a little bit will actually make you go a little bit quicker. That'll become apparent when we do the track guide. So if you followed my track guides before, you'll know that they are not a place for hot laps. It's a slow, methodical approach to learn the circuit, where I talk about my braking markers, my reference points, and the little quirks that each circuit has. So as usual, I'll show you a flying lap in full. Then we'll jump in the car, do a few laps, show you those braking markers and reference points in action. Then at the end, we'll talk about pit entry, pit exit, and where I think you might be able to overtake here this week at Oran Park. So enough talking, let's get on track. So here we are then on the main straight here at Oran Park. So as usual, we've set the sim time to match the official series. So it's the 29th of January 2022 and the time in the sim is 8 AM. We're also using the iRacing baseline setup, which is what is used in the official series. Track temperature right now for information is 27 degrees Celsius, exactly the same as it was in the flying lap that you've just seen. Now, Oran Park, I've never raced here before or never driven here before in the Mazda MX-5. I raced here a few seasons ago in the GT3s and it was a bit of a nightmare. There's so many elevation changes here at Oran Park that there are times when you try and get your car to do something, but there's a good chance that the tyres won't be in contact with the racetrack. I'll talk about those as we go around the lap. But it looks really good fun. I'm really excited to race this week. So, turn number 1, it's a flat out kink really. We're not really treating turn number 1 as a turn as such. That's just a reference point for us to brake for turn number 2. But we're going to be approaching it on the right hand side. If we're not in draft, then we're just going to be holding 4th gear. If we are in draft, then we may need to flick up to 5th if we're going to make a move, but just hold it in 4th. Now, the end of the green wall on the right hand side, when we pass that, then we need to start looking for turn number 1, the apex of turn number 1, because that is our braking marker for turn number 2. So we're going to move the car over to this position. When we're here, we're going to be hard on the brakes to about 60-70% all the way down into 1st gear for turn number 2. Now, turn number 2, it's almost like a mini double apex. On a flying lap, you will see it. There's a definite change to the angle of the curb on the inside. So it's very, very important, although to look for braking markers, it's equally as important to look for cues when you can get back on the gas. So we're going to be braking hard, 60-70% all the way down into 1st gear for turn number 2. We're going to be holding the brakes all the way to the apex. And then you'll see just about here, this is the the second apex of turn number 2. We're going to be hard on the gas, first gear. The car will push out wide to the right-hand side. Then we need to move it back over to the left for turn number 3. Up to third gear. Now, braking marker here, I put my left tyres on the curb as we enter turn number 3. And just when we pass those tyres on the left-hand side, we're going to be braking hard again down into first gear. And turning point for me is the end of the curb on the left-hand side. It's quite a late apex. You need to get a good run out of this turn. So we're going to apex this one quite late. And it's nice and tight. And as soon as we see this white wall in front of us, that's our cue to get back on the gas. Again, the car will run out wide. Watch for the grass on the exit. And then probably the trickiest turn on the circuit for me, turn number 4. Braking marker here is this first lot of green tyres on the left-hand side. But as you can see, the road there, just as we approach the turn, there's a crest. And that's what I mean about the tyres not being in contact with the racetrack. You're not going to get most efficient turning at this point. So you've got to be very, very careful and very patient here. If you push it too much, the car will lift off this little crest and you won't have any grip on the front tyres. So second gear, and we're going to be braking there. Not too much, just trail braking to the apex. Be nice and gentle. But as soon as we're on the apex here, we're going to get on the gas. Looking at this point here, you'll think I'm going to run off the track, but the track widens out and it goes all the way around. The car will probably push out right, but just keep turning right, you'll be fine. And we're going to accelerate up the hill to turn number 6. Now again, this one's quite tricky. We're going to be turning in just as we approach the bridge there. But as we turn in, we're going to lift in second gear. Whilst we're off the gas, we're going to flick it up into third, and then we're going to get back on the gas. Try and touch these curbs on the right hand side with your right tyres if you can, and if you do that, you'll be able to hold it flat out when you get back on the gas. Now this is another area of the circuit where your tyres, or your front tyres, especially your front right, isn't going to be in contact with the road surface. As you go down this little dip, the front right lifts and you've only got one tyre essentially, making the car go where you want it to go. So just before the end of the curb on the left hand side, we're going to be just braking slightly and lifting off the gas, get the car to rotate. Initially it'll feel like it's just going to understeer and push forward, but when the suspension compresses, you will get a load of grip back. We'll want to be cutting these curbs on the right hand side for turn number 7. When you're at this point, when you're on the curbs, back on the gas, this is third gear. Cut this curb on the left hand side, and then the car will push out wide for turn number 9. Now you want your tyres on the curb on the right if you can to open up turn number 9 as much as you can. And in the flying lap, I didn't cut this corner as much as you can. You can actually take quite a bit of this corner, but there's it's so easy to turn in too early, and if you do, you're going to push wide on exit and go on the grass. So try not to turn in too early for turn number 9. So third gear, cross the curb, accelerate through, move the car over to the left just to open up turn number 10. And we're going to put our right tyres on the curb for turn number 10, and we're going to straight line these as much as we can. You can see there's a tree right above our dash there. You can't see that as you approach. As we let the car drop back, you will see that tree slowly disappears. When that tree comes into your view, then that's going to be your cue to start turning left, because we want to cut turn number 11 quite a bit. You want to be right over on here. You'll see what I mean on a flying lap. And then down, third gear down into the final turn, turn number 12. We're going to be braking just as a patch of dirt on the road surface there. You'll see it. I'll move back, so I actually missed it there. There it is there. So there's a patch of dirt just above our instrument cluster there. When we get to that point, or just after, get on the brakes, down into second gear, and then nice and tight around turn number 12. Be very, very patient. On the left-hand side of the car there, you can see there's quite a bit of grass worn away. That's going to be our cue to get back on the accelerator. Keep turning left. The car will push out wide towards the wall, but as long as you've had a nice tight line round the final turn, you'll be absolutely fine. Right, we'll start to pick up the pace a little bit now. So we're going to be in fourth gear as we approach turn number 1. We're going to look for the end of the wall on the right-hand side. When we do that, we can start focusing on the apex. There it is. We're going to be braking at the apex there, all the way down into first gear. Pick up the second apex. There it is. Flat out, up to second. Move the car over to the left, up to third gear. Just when we pass those tyres, we're going to be braking. End of the curb, we're going to turn in. There's the white wall. We're going to get on the accelerator. Tyres on the left-hand side, the green tyres. Brake into the apex. As soon as we're on the apex, get on the accelerator. Now, this is where we need to lift and change into third. So we're going to lift, turn, up to third, then back on the accelerator. Just before the end of this curb, we're going to be braking. Across this curb, get on the gas when you're on the apex. Same with this one. Be careful not to turn in too early. Cut a bit of this though. Get on the gas at the apex. If you use the curb on the left, it will give you a little bit more rotation. Now look for this tree coming into view. There it is. Then we're going to start turning left. Just after this patch of dirt, we're going to be braking. Down into second gear, nice and tight. There's the worn grass. That's our cue to get back on the accelerator. Right. We'll pick the pace up a little bit now. It's only a short lap, so I might not be able to keep up. So fourth gear all the way down here. Fifth gear if you've got draft. So waiting for the wall to pass on the right. Then we're going to start looking for our apex. And then we're going to be braking all the way down into first gear. Hold the brake. Pick up the second apex. Move the car over to the left. Left tyres on the curb. Just past the tyres we're going to be braking. And turning in at the end of the curb. Late apex. There's the white wall. Get on the gas. Here we're going to be braking at the tyres, nice and gentle. Be patient on the apex. Get on the accelerator. Here we're going to be lifting up to third. Then here, just before the end of the curb, braking, patience. Get on the gas at the apex. Same again here, nice and patient. Get on the gas at the apex. Move over to the left to open up this right. Straight line these if you can. Braking just after the dirt. Nice and tight. Get on the gas where you see the patch of worn grass. And that's a lap of Oran Park. This should be a nice steady lap, this one. Not too quick. A 16.1. So I think it was a 15.4 you saw in the flying lap. So there's lots more time. My optimal, I think, was a 15.1. So there's still 3/10 there somewhere that I need to find. But this is my first time here this week. But that's a nice steady lap. You're much better just taking it easy on those parts where it's really easy to push, where you don't have the grip that you think you should have. But it's going to be really good fun here this week at Oran Park. Now let's talk about pit entry, pit exit. And although I've never raced here, where I think you might be able to overtake. So pit stops here at Oran Park. If you need to pit in the Global Mazda series, you've either got a penalty you haven't cleared, or you're going to go in for your fast repair. Now, it's just after the final turn. And we're going to move the car right over to the right-hand side. Just bear in mind, if you are going to pit, make sure that you tell the guys somehow behind, either on voice, map a button to say that you're pitting in, or move your car over to the right-hand side, take a wide line, let them up the inside, because you don't want to be forced on the left if you want to get your car over to the right. Now, this is the start of pit lane, right up for the wall. So just follow the wall all the way down. And when you pass this blue chair on the right-hand side, that's when you need to get on the brakes. And the yellow cone is just there. It's a very, very narrow pit entry. This is a really difficult pit entry in a GT3 because it's quite narrow, but in a Mazda, it's absolutely fine. So just get your pit limiter on at the yellow cone. Pit exit is absolutely fine. No dramas here on pit exit, but as soon as you get to the blue cone, well, that's when you're going to be coming into fast-moving traffic that are going to lap you, if that's the case. So just bear in mind, there's a little bit of wiggle room here because everybody's going to be on the curb on the left-hand side. So just keep an eye on your relative. If there are faster cars coming, just yield, give them time and try and slot in them behind them in some way. It's just not worth pushing too much. You've already had your fast repair. If you get wrecked again, then that's your race done. So that's just one thing to bear in mind, is keep an eye on your relative. Right, overtaking. Where can we get it done? So, overtaking here this week, I think is going to be quite problematic. There's only two places where I think I would want to go for an overtake, unless the obvious opens up and you can get down the inside the person you're racing with isn't going to be defending. But we're going to assume that the people are going to defend and not let you have the inside. Well, you've got to work for the overtake 2 or 3 corners in advance. Now, what I can see myself doing here is setting the overtakes up, coming out of the final turn and overtaking them into turn number 3. So here you want somebody to be defending, compromising their line, just generally looking in their mirror instead of looking forward. Somebody is going to defend down here. There's no two ways about it. This is probably going to be one of the biggest overtaking places this week on the inside down to turn number 1. People aren't going to let you have that. So what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to push around the outside and try and hold the outside line around turn number 2. If you can hold the outside line around turn number 2, then I think you can get the overtake done into turn number 3. But because we're taking a wider line, it means we can carry a little bit more speed and get on the gas a little bit sooner. And if you can hold the inside line here, then you've got the move done. There's no way they're going to hold it around the outside of turn number 3, and especially, definitely not going to hold it around the outside of turn number 4. Now, this is the other place where I think that you can get an overtake done. Not here, but in turn number 9. So we're only approaching turn number 4, but I'm thinking about overtaking somebody into turn number 9. Now, I want to be following somebody as close as we can. I want to be putting them under some pressure. We want them to be looking in their mirror. So if we can start doing that from this point, then their line where it matters is going to be shocking. So we want to be pushing them as hard as we can here, making them think we're maybe going to go for an overtake into turn number 5. We're not. We're just going to hold our normal line. They're going to be on the inside. We're going to try and power through here. And obviously, they're going to go to the inside at this point around turn number 7. But if we can hold the outside line around turn number 7, it's not going to be easy, but there's less of a bump on the outside, a wider line. So you might be able to carry a little bit more speed. If you can do that, then you'll probably be too wide around turn number 8. But if you're on the inside for turn number 9, happy days. You've got the move done. They're not going to hold the outside line around there. But if they do, then that's fine. If you're too wide around here, then you've still got the final turn to hold the position. So that's my advice. Start setting an overtake up out of the final turn out of here. Put them under some pressure. Trying to hold the outside line around turn number 2 for the overtake in either turn 3 or turn 4. Then same story again. Put them under pressure from turn number 5. Compromise their line around turn number 6. Outside around turn 7. Too wide through 8 probably. And overtake them into turn number 9. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm not sure it will, but I can't see any other places apart from the obvious up the inside where you're going to overtake. So there we go. That's week 7 done here at Oran Park. Please let me know down below in the comments how you get on. What were your times before the guide? What were your times after? Did I help? Did I cover everything that you wanted to be covered in a track guide? So next week, for week 8, we go back to Okayama Short, which just means the racing is going to be closer, tighter, and a little bit more difficult to overtake. As always, thanks for watching. Good luck this week. Keep it pinned.